guys, it's Allison with Hatteras Realty. The last couple of days, Abby and I have been busy going around the office and getting some of our co-workers to sit down with us and chat about their experience during Hurricane Irene. Some of them lost everything in their homes. Some of them have to move because their houses are going to be condemned now. Some stayed, some left, so we thought it would be pretty interesting for you guys to get an inside scoop to some Hatteras Island residents who actually went through the storm firsthand. So I hope you enjoy the video.
I did. I stayed in my house until the water started coming in.
So you watched it?
I watched it by flashlight, and I tried saving everything until it got like knee deep. Then I went upstairs.
Oh. I did. We stayed for the hurricane. It's always a toss-up whether or not I stay, but Bob always stayed.
I did. I went to my daughter's. She lives right outside of Raleigh. We were able to work remotely from there and answer info emails. Unfortunately, we didn't have access to our regular software here, so it made answering some questions impossible. But at least the guests and some owners did know that we were out there, and there were like maybe 6 of us that were doing that. And in the middle of it, the one girl that does it for a living had a baby.
Well, we evacuated the day the mandatory evacuation was in effect on Friday. We went to Durham. My daughter has her husband's family is there, which was very good for her. I have another daughter who stayed. She lives in Buxton, and they really didn't have much problem, thank heaven.
But first I went to Chesapeake, Virginia, and we stayed there for 6 nights, not knowing when we could come back.
In a hotel, right?
In a hotel with 4 kids. I took my 4 kids. My husband stayed here with the animals in the house.
We did. We thought it would be better to stay so we could take care of any repairs right away rather than wait to try to get on the island once the ferry's done.
Right.
And I stayed because I knew there was going to be some work, money to be made, and plus the terrible thing is you get off this island, you might not get back for weeks.
Now, I know that you last year didn't leave for Earl.
No.
So,
I've never left before.
So this was your first one?
Yeah.
So what made you want to leave for this one?
I'm a widow now, and I'm by myself, and I think my children would have freaked out if I'd have stayed, so to make everybody happy, I went. But I tell you, I understand now why you don't go.
The million.
My wife says to me, right, I told her, I said, look, man, this thing goes northwest, we're going to have some water in the yard. And it went northwest, and in 15 minutes we had 4 foot. She's like, oh my God, buddy, should I call the kids and tell them I love them? And I'm like, baby, you should always call the kids and tell them you love them. I said, but right now you ought to make me another rum and coke.
It's true. So you started literally like moving stuff out.
Yes.
When you saw the water start.
Moving it all upstairs, up on the counters.
Wow.
Just anywhere I could find a spot up high.
So were you kind of, stuck up there too?
I was stuck up there until daylight.
She's got a videotaping me out there kicking the water around, singing in the rain.
And so your son left.
He did.
Or does he live off the island?
He lives across the street.
Oh, okay. And was there damage done?
Yes. It was really high there. It's probably waist high, his house.
Wow.
But they are going to fix that. It's salvageable.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Floodwaters, they're coming.
I had called him.
He called
I was up here in Avon.
said, hey, here comes the water.
Yeah.
I looked outside and there was 8 inches of water.
So it's come up in a hurry
And,
this way. It's heading your way.
I told my wife and kids, get ready, we're going out to the shop, because I've got a shop that's a separate building from the house, and it's got a 2nd floor on it, the house doesn't. So we grabbed our stuff, flashlights and stuff we had ready, and we started heading out. By the time we got out, which was only about 5 minutes past, I had 18 inches. My dogs wouldn't go in the water. I had to grab them by the back of their neck, throw them in the water, so they would get out there and get to the other building. I carried my son on my back and got all everyone to safety. We kept watching with flashlights about 50 feet to the front step. and I got within 6 inches of water getting in my house. My hot tub started to float away. I'm, pool and hot tub technician for Hatteras Realty, and I'm so busy wrapping up everybody else's stuff that I didn't worry about my own. And as I walked outside to where my hot tub's at and was looking at it, it's floating away. But I was able to get a rope around it, and I pulled it back in and tied it off to the building. So I saved the shell, but needless to say, I need a motor and spot light.
And we just walked through your house, and you were saying that you're not going to be able to stay here.
No, they're not going to rebuild it. They're going to tear it down.
Oh my God.
So I'm now looking for a new place.
Yeah. Wow.
I tried to save everything, but it's like
How high was it in here?
We had 4 feet of water under our house.
Any
It was-
damage?
Well, only to underhouse things. Our freezer and fridge. We actually found our refrigerator, our little mini fridge at the end of the canal. And a lot of debris, a lot of things that were stored under there were knocked over, but nothing major. And our house was not affected. It didn't come up high enough to actually hit the floor.
So we actually had about 2 inches of water coming to the house about 10:15 p.m. that evening. We had to also moved both of our vehicles to higher ground. Unfortunately, even though my wife's car was on higher ground at the post office, she still did get about 8 to 10 inches of the water in her car, which I think is a total loss. But my other vehicle was on even higher ground and suffered no damages.
And you have a horse.
I have a horse. Yeah.
Yes.
We had to move the horse from Frisco to Buxton to higher ground to make sure he was okay.
Was your house or anything affected by the hurricane?
No, everything was fine at my house.
Like an 8-foot cabinet fell over that has all my husband's tools, and we don't even know if some of those tools have been lost. But the thing was like completely toppled. Think that something like that, I mean, just amazed me because it tells us that not only was the water high, but it was really like very ferocious because it literally moved the furniture around underneath and outside our storage room, outside and into the canal.
So 2 inches of water flooded into the house?
Yes.
So a lot of stuff got ruined, carpeted. Are you fixing it?
Mostly the carpet. I mean, there's still some furniture items that we will probably have to get rid of later, but we'll just hold on to it in the meantime. But we did spend 2 days pulling carpet out of the house.
Wow.
I gotta tell you, driving through Rodanthe Wave Salvo was like a war zone. It's pretty devastating. Luckily, it got better each progressive mile that we got towards home.
Yeah.
Yes, we're all very upset and distressed about the problems in Rodanthe and the problems here in Avon. There's a lot of people have lost their homes and things that can never be replaced.
Yeah. So you've taken a couple of trips up there and seen all the damages?
We have, my husband and I have, Bob Barris, and the thing about it is that they do need help and they're not ready for visitors, so
Yeah.
it doesn't pay to go up there and go up there to work.
Yeah.
Saturday after the storm, Sunday morning, I met Amy at 7:30 in the morning at the end of my road. She was in the 4x4, and we drove down, met her, and I started checking houses in Frisco because we didn't know how far we were going to be able to get. So we checked a few houses in Frisco, and there's not as much damage our end of the island, but there's a lot of water. A lot of the motors were underwater.
The storm has obviously hurt a lot of businesses around here. For you and for the homes that you have, what kind of problems have you been running into?
Lots of wet insulation where the floodwaters came up, and basically we've just been trying to check on houses and communicate with homeowners that we know and have dealt with over the years, and just we're trying to do what we can to mitigate whatever's going on in their house while they're not here and they're not able to get here. We're hoping that adjusters will show up very soon and that homeowners will be allowed to come on as soon as possible so that they can help us get their houses right.
Our load, right now with the pools and hot tubs, we've done assessments on pretty much every one for Hatteras Realty at this time. Out of us 60-some pools that we do, we have about 20 of them that the motors got wet. Some of the motors may run, but they won't last long. Most of them are going to have to be replaced. A few pool or hot tubs that were out on the pool deck, if they're lower lying hot tubs, they're going to need spot packs and motors.
And the pools you saw us working on yesterday, you know, those oceanfront homes, they got sandblasted like crazy. So all the way up on the top floors, there's sand, like not embedded, but stuck to the walls. It looks like crap, you know. But we just started up there, took a broom, broomed it all down to the bottom, then went with blowers, blew it all down to the deck, then cleaned the deck up. It was a lot of work, man. Then there was like 10 inches of, 8 to 10 inches of sand in the pool. You know, that's
It took 5 of us about
brutal.
4 hours to clean up one house.
We did 2 houses in the whole day.
Yeah.
And what was it like not being able to communicate with him either? I mean,
That was rough.
yeah.
The first time I talked, he's like, "You're alive."
Yeah, absolutely.
It was
Communication-wise for a while.
there was no communication. There was no problem. There was, you know, absolutely none. We had nothing. So, and I think, you know, it was very difficult for people to understand why we were not calling them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's really, really difficult because when the communications went down as they did this time, and that's really odd because it doesn't usually happen that way. Usually we have some kind of communication. It's very awkward, so we relied really on what we could hear from here, and it came from dribs and drabs and who talked to who and who knew somebody with a ham radio. And really the last thing we're concerned about, I guess, is our place. It's everybody else's place that trusts us to take care of what they give us. And little by little all that started coming together, and then little by little we started being able to come home. So
The biggest headache, and like everybody else, was just not knowing when we were going to be able to get back. And we had family here. My son-in-law is an EMT, Kenny Bright, and he was able to give us a lot of information, like current, ongoing information about what was happening here, the power issues, and just letting us know that no, you can't come back yet. And so we did have a link to the island, and that was a good thing.
That is.
I told a woman that I work with that I would pick up her children who had been sent off, and I did, and we got to the ferry on Monday, fully expecting to get on with the alphabetical situation, and the 2:30 ferry didn't leave, and then we were sitting there and saying, only to find out the structure of the ferry ramp was damaged, and none of us went. So then we went off and had an adventure. It was me, 3 children that I don't know really, really well, their dog and my dog.
Oh my. And now, so you obviously stayed for this hurricane.
Yes.
If another one was to come, are you going to stay again? Or
I'm going to have to say yes.
Yeah.
Because my son left and he's still not back yet.
really?
He's on the way back, but otherwise I wouldn't have been able to save what I did save.
Considering the fact that it was only a Category 1, I don't know if the next time, if a hurricane of that magnitude came through here, I would necessarily evacuate. This time, because of the track, it really frightened us.
Sure.
And we decided, but next time, I don't know if we would necessarily make the same decision based on our experience getting back. It was just ridiculous.
It's always, that's always the question, is when will I be able to get back on? And it's always difficult. But every storm is different, and I don't ever make a decision until I feel like I have as much information as I need about where I need to go and what I need to do. Because I've been here through lots of storms, and I've never seen one that was like any other storm. Every storm is a different animal.
And I just think you have to take it and look at each one. You can't make a blanket decision and say, I'm never going to leave the island again, because you could be really putting yourself in harm's way.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Ride it out.
Yep.
Yeah. And, you know,
I
yeah.
feel secure in the home that I live in, and between my house and my mother's, we sit up pretty high. They don't wobble that bad.
Hurricanes
we board
kill
them up.
economy, man.
We board them up. We, carry generators. We can pretty much get through anything out here.
Water,
If it gets up to a hurricane, a 4 or 5, I might split.
Oh, I would leave, definitely.
But as far as a 1, 2, or 3, I'll probably hang out.
you put a burden on the ones that do stay because it is immense. I mean, they work from morning till dark.
Yeah.
And they don't stop. And, you know, if you're here, at least you're another set of hands.
Yeah. Very.
I mean, it's like a gamble. No matter what you do, you just don't know what to expect. Each hurricane, each storm is like its own separate entity, and you have to look at each one like a whole new issue and try to assess it